Well, hello, boys and girls.
Are we in
What
Hawaii?
a wonderful day it is today in our money-based economy.
Can I leave the airport this time?
Sit back and relax and get ready for the guy who's about to ruin everything.
I'm puzzled. Are you really seriously suggesting that Jesus Christ was a mushroom?
No, he's taking me from the
Jesus
airport to
was
the
a
beach.
mushroom Roberts.
Yes. You are dealing with a secret cult, a secret society.
Wait a minute.
To Waning Interest.
Welcome to the Waning Interest Podcast. Unlocked Wednesday, hour number 53, August 7th, 2019. Here to hopefully make you happy, but not laugh. And single because of age. My phone is too old to hold Bumble or Tinder. And that's why we're the smallest click on the internet. No matter what Joe Cruz says, it's click. The pinball in your favorite machine. Again, mine was T2. When I have the real Waning Interest headquarters, when they're done being built in a cave in the outskirts of Gotham, there will be a T2 pinball machine right next to my desk. I said it. You can quote me. It's recorded. It's out there everywhere on the nets. So you can hold me to it. It's good because it gives me extra drive and it'll keep me from forgetting because, it's Hawaii Day. What is it? Grape Aloha. Grape Aloha. Very tasty. And, that's the fourth vape pen. I paid $5 and they said if it fucks up, it's disposable. If it fucks up on you, just bring it back with the package and we'll give you a new one. This is the fourth one. I fucking love this. You know, normally you buy something and it breaks down real quick or it fucks up on you and you get all pissy because you got to take it back, or you go, is it really worth it to take it back, or should I just throw it the fuck away or give it away for parts? Like, you know, if I'm in a Star Wars movie or something, whatever that means. But not with this. Like, I'll gladly go right back there, hand them that 2/3 gone. Now it's messed up battery or something, and I get a fresh one that I can go do up another 2/3 most likely, and then bring it back and another two. I'm winning. I'll tell you what. Finally! It's finally feeling like it's my year. August, birthday's coming up, and this vape pen just keeps breaking down 2/3 of the way. That's going to be the title of the story. When everything coalesces and the big payoff comes along and all this hard work and all the hours of, being a douchebag, finally, boom! And payday comes for it. That's what we're going to call it. What did I say? 2/3, right? And it all got started with a $5 vape pen. And then worlds collided and made a new one. And the payoff began. It was the month of August, 2019, the 50th anniversary of the Watson-Kasabian murders. Hopefully, by the time that a good number of people hear this podcast, that's what they'll be referred to at that point. Some of you might be going, that's 5 years later, somebody might be going, oh, that's what they used to call the Manson murders. Wicked smart. Oh, he's a trailblazer. This guy, he's like trying to change the thought of it, kind of like the way people changing words and, don't say yella no more. Well, but it means chicken. Well, Asians might not like it, and they might think you're referring to them, and you're prone to a lawsuit for racial hatred or whatever but just don't say any colors except black or purple. Did I tell you it's Wednesday jokes and Radio Story Day? You might not know that. This might be your first time at the Waning Interest podcast. So there. That's what's going to be coming up after a little bit more babbling from this. What the hell am I? I don't know. I'm a mutt. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, or jack of all trades, master of absolutely none. One of those. And you know what? We're the kind of guys that have those 24-year baseball careers as a lefty pitcher. That's basically what I'm a lefty. Shit. What's the word? Not clutch. Situational. I'm a lefty reliever, situational reliever. End up having a fucking 24, 26-year career. All right, not that much. That's not the norm, but there's a lot of them that got past 15 years. That's pretty good. But I'm thinking that there's going to be some that go past that are going to go into it's going to start to be a normal for guys to have 20 to 25-year baseball careers. A lot more guys are going to, because of, as we know, the physicality. And boy, you think that's coming in for a landing or taking off? We'll say it's taken off. I'm dreaming that I'm on it and we're headed to Bora Bora, and it's a one-way fucking ticket. What was I saying? Something about Radio Story Day. Something about Wednesday jokes. Something about, I have no idea. Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe it's the Aloha weed. But I was saying something before that plane, and it's bothering me that I can't remember. But that's just because I can't really see myself as a lefty, even though I am ambidextrous. But yeah, utility, jack of all trades, master of none, still end up with a decent, a longer career. So it may sound on the front, but when you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, this is at Moneyball. I see what's going on here. How do you like all these baseball analogies? Don't you fucking hate them? Some of you do, obviously. But if you're new to the podcast, yes, Wednesdays are jokes and Radio Story days. I also do an hour on Monday, Patreon hour, where it's voiceover stories. No, Mondays are bowling and acting stories. My apologies. And then Friday's Patreon hour is voiceover stories, album of the week, and the Friday psychedelic movie/series. What was last week's? The Trip? Or was that before? Was it The Trip? I think it was The Trip. Might have been something else. I don't remember. Thank you, cannabis. But at the Patreon, if you're here, maybe from Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, Google Play, Laughable, or Spotify, you may be here from one of those, or you may be a whip right now listening to this straight from the Patreon page. But if not, and you want more of this craziness, and you're not already a whip, part of the Waning Interest Podcast Pack, You can go to the Patreon page. Link should be right there. And for as little as $2 a month, you can hear the Monday and Friday hour every week. How about that? I am so cheap. $2 a month. Holy mackerel. $24 a year? Are you kidding? You know what that is? That's like a subscription to my subscription to Rip Magazine that I never had. Because I was too stupid. I think I told this story before. Rip Magazine, it was a rock magazine. It was one of the best ones in the late 80s, early 90s. Lon M. Friend. It really was a good one because it went deep. It wasn't this little shell of a magazine with just pictures and, oh, look, we're fans of the bands. This is actually, good interviews. You got in there. It was smarter. But I wouldn't get a subscription to it because I enjoyed going to the store and getting it because it was basically the only time I would go to this store. And I would want to go to the store because back in the day, my grandparents owned that building and it was a restaurant called McLeod's. And I used to eat all the cherries behind the bar and play Rhinestone Cowboy in the jukebox over and over. And my cousin had made me. It wasn't all me, right? Right. But the point is, if I had wanted to stay home and be a lazy twat and not go for a little lovely jaunt to an old family haunt, I could have stayed home and paid, what was it? I think back then I started reading Rip in 88, I believe. Might have been 87, but I think it was 88. And what was it? $3 maybe, I think. So subscription, 12 times 3, you do the math. Fuck that shit, I don't want to do it. But if I remember from the little card inside, I think the subscription was something like $24.95 a year, if you wanted to do it that way. But I never did. But that's what this podcast is like. And see, with Rip, that's at $24 a year, or $24.99, and you're only getting one a month. With this, you're getting 3 a week, sometimes 3.5, sometimes 4. Sometimes I do bonuses, if I can say that. So, obviously, my point is not to oversell. Did I tell you there's no ads? Although this is kind of sounding like an ad, right? Sure is. See? But what a cheap ad. I'm selling myself. I'm not selling some garbage for, for some underhanded thing, although I would, if the shit was good. JackVerde.com. Did I throw that out there? Oh, that's out there forever. JackVerde.com. Check them out. It's a buddy of mine's Suss's barbecue sauce, some rubs, and some hot sauce. He sent me some. I just got to let you know. I don't get nothing, but he sent me some for my birthday. And I got to say, good stuff. The hot sauce, I'm not into the hot sauce stuff. Like I said, no ads. This really isn't an ad. I normally don't do hot sauces. It's not my thing. But this, great taste, just hot enough for people that like hot stuff, and it doesn't leave your mouth burning. Brilliant. I dig it. But you're not going to hear shit like that. So that's why it's even worth, that's why the $2 is even more than, you see? And this shit's timeless. They're mainly evergreen. I don't know. I mean, I don't say timeless as in they're gold, but yeah, you'll see. But timeless, evergreen, meaning they're not dated. They don't have all this stuff that's, and then this is happening today and blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. It's more of an audio biography. And see, I'm like the smallest speck of sand in a shoe, but if anyone tries to make me into a domestic terrorist, remind them I've never owned a gun, haven't shot one except a paintball since I was a teenager, and have no plans to again, and having one pointed at me thrice is enough for one lifetime. Being called a pussy is better than being called a terrorist, and funnier. And I'm saying that really. Isn't that weird how I'm saying that and you're hearing sirens? Because they're coming to... No, they're not coming to get me. Right. Did I tell you I'm on my 4th vape pen for $5? This is a good week. So when I took that back to exchange, the vape pen that had only... Back to the 2/3. Hey, this episode is called 2/3. Did I say episode? I hate that word. This hour is called 2/3. No, it's not. It's called hour 53. Or 2. Or 3. It's hour 53, you moron. Unlocked Wednesday, you dumbass. Leave me alone. So as I'm in there was a lady beside me, another member of the dispensary, and she had a boot from a foot injury. And I said, "How long have you been in it?" And she said, 3 weeks, and it's driving me crazy. And it was a boot just like mine with my busted foot that I had in 2016. And she's 3 weeks. You're sick of it, huh? It's bothering you? Like, I was in one for almost a freaking year, man. That really sucks. Especially when you get teased. I don't know if I've told the story, but on a date, 2016, July 2016, and we decide to go. I decide to go with her on her Sunday thing with friends. I can't remember. Have I told this story? They get together at a park nearby and either play volleyball or touch football. Or there was something else. There was a couple other things that they met. Anyway, I said, sure, that'd be fun. Let's do that. And I didn't bring my spikes because they said we were going to play volleyball. Well, we get there and they decide on playing touch football. And stupid me goes a little too hard because I'm a smoker. So I don't get a lot of cardio. But when I do get out there and start running, then I go a little too hard because I haven't done it in a while. I had to slow down a few times, and I felt my feet extra warm. And it was a warm day. Anyway, I took a little break. Got some water. I get back in the game. I've got the ball after catching it, and I turn and run a few steps, and then somebody comes up to touch me. And I stop real quick to make a little juke move, a fake. And when I planted my left foot, all of a sudden, I hear a snap. And the middle of my foot just basically gave way, and I went down. A couple of the guys were like, "Oh, I don't think you probably didn't break it. You just rolled your ankle, right?" Like, "No, it's broken. It's broken. I know it's broken." Nah. Then they're trying to tell me to take my shoe off. Like, no. I'm going to keep my shoe on to keep the swelling down. Take the shoe off, and then the swelling will get worse. So they tell you keep your shoe on unless it gets really bad, and you got to do it just for circulation. But I'm like, no, keep it on there. And this is where I find out. Up until now, she's pretty cool, but this is where I start to find out. seemingly clueless. And I'm also thinking, no, I'm not in the greatest of minds right now because I got a broken foot, but I'm pretty calm. So I'm not like over freaking out right away and causing somebody else to act in just the dumbest ways. Like it's like it was like she was 10 when they said to go get her car and drive it over the thing. I'm in the middle of this field and I just start crawling on my knees to get off the field. And they're like, no, stay here. We'll get the, go. They tell her to go get her car. And she, instead of jogging, I'm just watching, and this is where it started. And instead of jogging, I would have started jogging or running to my vehicle to get it out there and get somebody who's got a broken foot or a serious injury. And she's just walking along, da-da-da-da-da-da, and then all of a sudden stops and starts heading back because she just started going to the car leisurely, not realizing she didn't have her keys on her. So then she leisurely makes a right comes sort of back towards us, and then leisurely going off, and I'm sitting there going, is this really happening? Is this a bit? Is somebody filming this? I bet if I start going again on my knees, heading that way, I might get there before she even pulls up onto the grass at all. So I just start crawling. The guys are like, no, dude, just hang out. You're no need, Waiting. Next thing you know, here she is, walking back towards us. And not at a quick pace still. So at this point, I start crawling again. I'm like, fuck this, and I start going. And some of the guys are like, what the fuck's going on? What are you doing? Where's your car? Well, I couldn't pull it up over the thing. And they're like, no, you go around it. It's right there. And trying to explain it to her, and she's like, and just wasting more time. And I'm just, whatever. I'm just crawling. Whoever's going to take me, just whatever. I'm just going to crawl until somebody has a vehicle. Like I was in a war. Like crawling, but it was... Somebody finally gets his truck. He comes around, throws me in the truck with her, takes me off the field now, and into the parking lot to her car, get out of his truck, into her car, then realize in my wallet, just a few days ago, I took out the fucking insurance thing because I'm like, I was cleaning out my wallet. I'm like, I never have to think about that. Usually when I need this, I just pull it out of the fucking thing in my kitchen. So I took it out of my wallet. So I didn't know where to go straight from there. And she keeps asking me where to go. I'm like, hold on, I don't know where to go. And I had to keep repeating that. And it started to, and it wasn't me. It was like, oh, you calm down. Your foot's broken. You're overreacting. I'm like, no, I'm not overreacting. She keeps asking me a question that I do not have the answer for. Like, sweetie, please stop asking me where to go. I don't know. That's why I'm on the phone and trying to figure it out while we just head back to my place so I can get the information from, in my kitchen. And we make it here before I get anywhere on the phone because it's a Sunday. I'm like, which urgent care or ER do I go to? Anyway, we get back to my place. I'm on the second floor. She is too small to really help me without crutches, hopping on one foot to get anywhere. But I'm doing all of that. Get up all the way up the stairs. Luckily, the stairwell isn't too wide where I could use the two sides and hold on as I hopped up. Then we get into my apartment in here into Waning Interest headquarters. I hop over into the kitchen. I find the card, got the information, and then I needed something behind me by the sink. can't remember what I was going to look for. But I had turned around and I had to hop, of course. Well, I've had my hands on the counter so I could brace my, for leverage so I could hop across. And I had bent forward over the counter a bit. So when I hopped up, the top of my head went right into the bottom of the cupboards. So now I have a broken foot, hopping all over the place without crutches, and now I have blood running down my forehead. And now she's laughing. And at this point, I'm going, yeah, that is kind of funny. But, motherfucker. And this was in July. My plan was on my birthday, a month later, or 3 weeks later, was to rent a Harley. I had just gotten my motorcycle license. I was going to rent a Harley for a couple of days for a weekend and drive up the coast. That ended up not happening. Go to the ER, have to wait forever. One of the worst parts is there's a guy who is super, super, super sick. Completely ignoring him. The only person with him is his girlfriend or wife. And he is sick to where just the noises and he's sweating. It's just obvious. Like, he doesn't belong here anymore. This needs attention now. And I'm just sitting there going, why is this just being treated like, why is everybody looking around like this is normal? This is crazy. Finally, one of the nurses or ladies from behind the counter, somebody finally brings him a puke bag because he started saying, I'm going to get sick. And you could tell anyway for the longest time. They bring him this big puke bag. He ends up puking in front of everybody. Just great. That's not bad for, germs and, in front of everybody. And these people are already sick that are in the waiting room here. Some of them obviously might have immune systems that are a little weakened. Might be a reason why they're in the ER. And let's just make it worse. Leave this guy here puking all over the place. And then they did. When they finally brought him in, they didn't bring the puke bag with them. They left it laying there on the fucking floor. And I'm sitting there more with her going, do you see this? You believe this? And it sat there, and I had to go, hey, is somebody going to pick that up? And they're looking at me like I'm a freak for asking. Like, what? Why do I look like the weirdo here? Insane. At this point, I'm like, I cannot wait to get in there and let them give me some pain medication because it's starting to throb like a motherfucker. And what did they say? What did both nurses say to me? That's a smart thing to do to keep your sneaker on, and not take it off. Keep the swelling down. Thank you. Just saying. And then find out that, wow, this has been one hell of a date. And you are an awful nurse. That was it for that. The way I was dropped off, and I was like, wow, I think we're done. And then she was mad that I was like, yeah, I think that was enough for me. And she was all mad. I'm like, listen, man, I don't really feel it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a dick. I'm just saying. And I'm in a lot of pain right now, and you need to comfort me, and I don't want it. Because I was full of anger that I was not going to be riding a Harley in a few weeks. And it was all her fault. If I had been wearing spikes, if I had brought the damn things, man, she said, you don't have to bring them. if I was wearing those, I don't think my foot would have broken. But here's the thing. I get referred to a certain foot doctor. Then they don't have when I go there, which is the next day, because this was a Sunday, so then I have the appointment for the next day. I go in there. They don't give me a boot. They leave me in the half boot, half cast sort of thing that I got in the ER. And she told me that they were going to have the boot. I swear she said it twice. I had to repeat it to me. They're going to have my boot for me next week when I come back. Okay. So the next week I come back, and as soon as I get there, the doctor's assistant says, "Where's your boot?" And I go, "What do you mean? I'm here to get it. That's part of when I come back today, right? That's what you said last week." No, you should have gotten it in the mail. I don't know what you're talking about. You said that one of the things when I come back next week is you'll have my boot for me. And another, just checking it out. No. And I'm like, what is happening? And she goes, "No, you were this company was supposed to call you and make sure the size was right, even though they had your height and your weight, and mail it to you." And I went, "Well, that's no, but that's the first time I've heard that. But whatever, this thing has been fine. That's no big deal." So she goes, "Now, is your phone?" She looks at the paperwork. She goes, "Is your number blah 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 blah?" I'm like, "No, that's a number off. Those last two numbers were twisted backwards." Oh, well, before that, she says, "Well, they said that they've called you 3 times and they didn't hear back from you." And I go, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then she goes, "Is your number la la la?" And I go, "No." Oh, so they were trying to call me with the wrong phone number, but it's my fault. And this doctor, but whatever. I'm like, okay, I got one broken bone. So, 2.5 months, it's usually good. Go back. Yes, it looks like you're healed. Do the new x-rays. Oh, it looks like it's healed. And I'm like, but something's not quite right. Now, there's something I don't really have I don't have leverage, on the inside of my foot, on my left foot when I stand up. Well, atrophy from being in the boot. I'm like, nah, it's not that. It's more in the front. Something's not right. Should I have like an MRI or something to check? He goes, "Oh, I'm the doctor." I go, "Yeah, I know you're the doctor. That's why I asked, should I have an MRI? You're not doing it. You would just order it. It has nothing, you just order it. It's not a big deal. And that something's not right. Well, I think everything will be fine with PT, with physical therapy." Okay. This doesn't seem right, but okay, we'll go with this. Go to PT, and after 2 weeks, my therapist is like, "Yeah, something's not right. You should be much farther along. This is off. Let's order you an MRI." So he goes in and he does it through the computer, through the network or whatever. But then when I get the paperwork or they call me for the referral, they thought it was just a regular x-ray. I'm like, no, it's supposed to be an MRI. So then I had to go through that whole thing to go back around and to fix it to MRI, 7 different phone calls. Go get the MRI. Oh my gosh, guess what, Wayne? You didn't have just one broken bone. You had 2 broken bones. They're both healed, basically, right now. But also, your Liz Frank ligament needs to be reattached. Like, what? Liz Frank ligament? Yeah, you know how you don't have any leverage in your big toe and, it's not quite right when you walk and you still don't have, everything isn't there? Yeah, it's because your ligament's dancing around. It's not attached like it's supposed to be. You need surgery. Back in the boot, bitch. So I was out of the boot for like 2.5, almost 3 weeks. Back in the boot. Scheduled surgery. What? 3 weeks later, I think, because it was happening around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So there was a week. It was right before Thanksgiving, and my surgery was scheduled for mid-December. The week before surgery, I emailed my voiceover agents, the whole office, that next week I'll be out from this day, for a week because of meds, whatever. My foot will be up. I won't be able to do much. So there, and I get all these replies. Okay, good luck. Be safe. All the niceties. Night before surgery, never happens. Agent hits me at 7:30 p.m. What's your availability tomorrow? I'm like, dude, I told you, I have surgery at 7 a.m. Oh, well, a certain big-name restaurant wants you for a commercial, for a session tomorrow, Oh, boy. Luckily, I had this surgeon's, or my new foot doctor's cell phone. Sorry, doc. I can't do the surgery. I have to make the money decision. No problem, we'll reschedule. Couldn't reschedule until the beginning of February because he was booked up. But I go to the session the next day for the big restaurant voiceover session. Did I say session? No, you said session. Oh, I should have said session. Did you say session? I said session. They know I've put off a surgery. I believe I nail it. Spot was great. It was this friend zone commercial for the idea for this big restaurant, fast food restaurant. Really cute, really funny spot. Killed it. A couple weeks later, find out, they decided to recast it. What? The fuck are you saying? Can this get any worse? What the fuck? There was nothing wrong with my fucking read. I am my own worst critic. I'm a good critic. I know what quality is. I fucking killed that. It was perfect. The voiceover was perfect. It was. And not only that, but they knew I put off a surgery for it. That made my right foot, the one that, works, a little bit farther out the door of the industry. And every time something like that happens, it doesn't make me go, oh, I'll get him next time. No, it's too much, and it's just, there's always money. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm getting out further. No, I'm getting out further. Anyway, February finally rolls around, and I'm going under for the first time. If I'm not mistaken, my first time being sedated. Or is it sedated, or is it under? I never did that countdown before, and they didn't make me do the countdown. I was just talking. I continued talking because I was babbling anyway, and, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, I'm up going, what, it's over? Took a little trip with some friends out to the desert to heal for a week or so in a calmer atmosphere. They fucking recast me, man. What a slap in the face. And I'm telling you, it was, And when the spot, it was one of those where, it's hard for me to watch sports or any television with commercial stuff because so many of the commercials I'll go, yeah, I read for that. Yeah, I read for that. But 9 out of 10 times I go, yeah, that was a good pick. That was a good pick. When that restaurant came along, that commercial came on, when they recast me and I saw it for the first time, I went, nope, 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 mine was better. Nope. And I'm not normally like that. But I was right. Mine was better. And it was one of those where they normally had all their spots ran a bunch because they're really good. And that one was. And you know what ruined it? That voiceover. And that's the foot story, the boot story. Oh, wait, Guns N' Roses. I went to Guns N' Roses a month into this. I almost said Joe Robbie Stadium. At Dodger Stadium. Beautiful edible. These guys that were on the other side of the stairwell of us, on the other row, coming down the stairs where we were in our seats. They were on the other side. And Axl said something about, what are we going to play between songs? He goes, what are we going to play? Frank, who is the drummer of Guns N' Roses and has been the drummer for many years. Frank Farrar. Now, these guys across from us, just acting like the biggest Guns N' Roses fans, like they know everything. It's sick when you act like that and you don't even know who's on the fucking stage. It makes no sense. So Axl's like, we play this, that, or the other. Wait, Frank, you tell me. You tell me. You tell us. You pick. And then one of the dudes goes, who's Frank? And like, is this really happening? Who's Frank? Did he just say that? I mean, why am I here? Why are you killing my Guns N' Roses buzz, man? Did he really think that Steven Adler was still the drummer? I mean, how do you pay that much money to go to a show and not even know who the fuck is in the show, who's in the band? How do you, and especially when it's not 1970 where you don't know how to find out and there's no way to know or what, or difficult ways to, you know what I mean? Who's Frank? But the worst part was, Steven did come to play a couple of songs, but the next night's show, not the night that I was there. It was bullshit. So it wasn't a full birthday gift. It was. I got 3/5. I do think that there is going to be a day where Izzy and Steven will both be there so all 5. I know it. Yesterday, Gn'R, Appetite for Destruction, 1988, 31 years ago, yesterday, went number 1. And I was in Virginia the first time I heard Guns N' Roses earlier that summer. And my stepbrother came down with us, my sister and I, to Virginia from Maine, instead of going to Buffalo to hang out with his mom because he knew that he could smoke pot and drink beer. At my dad's. What? Shh. Well, we went one day with a buddy of my dad's, JD. He was like 25-ish. We were 15. Went around, hung out with him in his IROC Z. And, he took us to eat and do, some cool shit. My dad was working. It was a fun day. And part of the day was we asked if he could go to a head shop and get us a bowl because my dad's bowl was a piece of shit. Well, we couldn't go in because we weren't old enough and we didn't look old enough to pass. It was a Penguin shop, I think was called, the head shop in I think we might have been in Maryland, not Virginia. He goes in and he gets, the first time I've ever seen one, comes back with a steamroller. And it says steamroller, and it's just this glass tube that's open one end to the other, and on one piece there's a bowl. And you use your whole palm as a choke, and bam. And it says steamroller right on the side. I'm like, whoa, what is this? We've never seen this. Is cool. We bring it back to Maine. We've only used it a few times. It's still pretty clean, whatever. We lend it to a buddy of ours. We don't see it for a couple weeks. My stepbrother and I go to this one party, and I walk into the house through this little breezeway and then into the kitchen. And as I step into the kitchen, there's a group of people, like 7 people around in a circle. And they're all doing this one thing, and there's some smoke, and I smell weed or whatever. The circle breaks a little bit, and I see my buddy Vic Downs, this big dude, and he's holding my steamroller. They were passing it around. That thing was black as fuck. They had been using it so much. And they didn't know it was mine. This is yours? No shit. Nobody had seen one before. And that's one of the things that made me the king of high school. That's not true. I know. It was the porn. But anyway, back in Virginia, when we were driving around that day, when we got the steamroller, that was when JD played us Appetite for Destruction, and it wasn't an actual tape that he had. It was a copy that somebody had sent him, a friend of his from Los Angeles, because JD was a drummer himself. I used to watch him play all the time in his basement, just going, man, why don't I ever do it? And every time I'd sit back there, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like, oh man, if I had just spent 15 more minutes, one of those times, 15 more minutes, and I'd have been a drummer all this time. But anyway, so we went back to Maine with the steamroller and saying, oh, this band that we heard, Guns N' Roses, la la la. A few weeks later, Sweet Child of Mine plays on MTV. Bam! Appetite goes to number 1. Then we went out and bought the tape. We had bought the tape when we came back anyway, or somewhere at the point Tracy bought his own. And we shared it, and then I went, nah, I better get my own. That one's wearing out. Anyway, there's some Guns N' Roses shit. Hey! Whatever. I'd rather listen to Izzy now. Any Izzy album. If you have never listened to the podcast before, you'll know that I'm a huge Izzy Stradlin fan, and I want the album Like a Dog played at my funeral party. And from there, we're moving on to the Wednesday Jokes. Wednesday Jokes on the Waning Interest podcast. Old shit that I wrote in the first couple of years. Just for you. It didn't do well then, so why not repeat for you so you know exactly how it is and it's recorded or whatever. Last week, if you're new to the podcast, the first time you're listening, on last week's hour 50, I took a bunch of the Wednesday jokes up until this point from all the Wednesdays. Not all of them. I left a few out that were really long and ponderous. And I stuck it together like a 9-minute set that didn't go very well. Speaking of Guns N' Roses, what I could do is add a fake crowd to it and make it like my live side of GNR Lives. Because that wasn't really live. Anyway, the Wednesday jokes. This from a set from February 5th, 2016. You're supposed to reveal part of yourself when you're on stage, but a lady I know doesn't like me talking so much about drugs. I asked why, and she said, because I'm your dealer. And your aunt. On your dad's side. You know, I just want to have fun and score an 8-ball and find love with a stranger. This one's from today. Folks yell vaccinate your kids and old pics of doctors selling cigs pop into my head. And that's the Wednesday Jokes Day. Wednesday Jokes Day on August 7th, 2019 on the Waiting Interest Podcast. There you go. It's 50 after. And 15 seconds. Anyway, that's what you get every Wednesday if you're new to the podcast, like I said. Some old stupid shit. And that one, that's going to sound good being the first one that kicks off when I get to hour 100 and I do it again to where I put all the Wednesday jokes together for a little rehash, best of sort of thing. It's kind of like, the hatchet in the balls of the shadow thing on the Tonight Show when it was Jack Parr, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying. I was trying to think of the Larry Sanders one, but when he got peed on. Anyway, now it's time for the Wednesday radio story. That was a great ending for the joke thing, right? No? Wednesday radio story. Here we go. You're going to love this one. You're going to love this one. It's sexy. I worked for a cluster of radio stations, Clear Channel. So there were 7 radio stations. One of the radio stations was a rock station. 94.9 Zeta. Well, everybody in their town, in their local, rock station, especially in a bigger market, they'll have, Weenie Roast or Zeta Fest, as these guys would have in the summertime. It was a decent-sized concert. We had this place in Fort Lauderdale, this park that they did up for this festival type thing, kind of like a Lollapalooza sort of deal. And it wasn't bad. Well, I agreed, so I wouldn't have a problem drinking for free all day. I told them at the beginning of the day I would work one of the t-shirt booths. And I did. And I worked it hungover as a month. Well, no, actually I wasn't hungover. I was more still drunk. The night before, I didn't even remember getting home. Friday nights were one of my drinking nights, and I meant to keep it light. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was one too many shots of something that I shouldn't have had, probably Jack Daniels. Woke up with my phone, cordless phone, a little half antenna thing sticking up my butt because I fell asleep talking to my lady friend. And realizing, oh shit, I gotta get out to this thing. Now, it wasn't my girlfriend. I was a single man. So I get there, sweating my ass off. Luckily, I grabbed a beer early, so to make myself feel a bit better while I was in that hot booth, behind that curtain. I was showing off the shirts. No, I was hiding my beer behind the curtain. And I was feeling good. It was getting good to me. And a buddy of mine comes and I go, dude, I'm going to help you when I go into the VIP when I'm done here, and I'm going to go in the VIP section. You're coming with me. And he did come. But he had his lady friend. So we're there, and there's a bunch of people that we know. And we're sitting in the VIP section drinking for free. Concerts going on, and we're in a good spot, so we don't have to be in the crowd. And there's a restroom right there because I had to be on. Well, I go out into the crowd for something to find somebody or whatever. I run into these 2 ladies that I know from another friend of mine. And I go, ladies, how are ya? Hugs, kisses on the cheek. They were just bombing around, and I went, you guys want to come back? I get you into the VIP section, You just don't be pissing your money away on the drinks out here. Bring them in. I have no agenda. They're just people I know, and I don't want them paying for alcohol they don't have to pay for. We get in there, they sit with us. They're on my left. These two beautiful ladies were on my left, and my other friends are on my right, and we're in these bleachers. We're drinking, having a great time. It's loud, the band's playing. What was it? Oh, man. Everclear? I think it was. Anyway, one of the ladies to my left taps me on the shoulder. I turn, and it's kind of loud. And now both ladies are looking at me. And the one that's on her left, that's farthest away, looks at me and goes, "We want to fuck you." So, of course, I went, "You're kidding." And they went, "No." And I smiled, like, "Come on, you guys fucking with me? It's really loud. Are you saying what I think you're saying?" So the rest of the concert was really great because of anticipation. And I started to slow down on the beer so I wouldn't have problems with pulling the flag up the pole. Peed a lot. Well, luckily they had been dropped off anyway by another friend who was going, so they just jumped into my truck when everything was over, so we went straight there, didn't have to do anything with vehicles or whatever. So we got to talk and all that time there, and then talk all the time in the truck while we're trying to get out of this place with all those other vehicles. So, it wasn't like right into bed and nasty shit. We got to know each other. It was more familial. Go back to my place where there's, I think, cannabis. And I'm not promoting, I'm just telling a story, just like it's a book. A little bit of that, and I think all of a sudden in Florida, it might have snowed a bit. But on the couch, I was, what was it? I was oral magic. I was giving some oral magic. And then out on the porch, we had to have, let's take a break, have a cigarette. So I gave the other one some oral magic. And then back into the living room for some more oral magic. And then I went, hold on. I have to do something. First I went and peed. And then I went and I called my boss. I had to call my boss and go, "Dude, I'm about to have a threesome, man." So I did. I called him. And you know what's funny? He answered. You know what's even funnier? He was in the middle of sex and answered because he had a funny feeling. And it wasn't just that he might pop, and he answered just to keep from popping. He had a feeling. Then I hang up the phone after that funny shit and actually said hi to his wife. Sorry for interrupting your sexes. Go back to what we're doing in the living room, and then all of a sudden, cling, 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 cling. Wait a minute, my roommate's not supposed to be coming home until tomorrow. What the fuck? Get your clothes on. Get in my room. And they went in my room. And let's just say I had to get a new bed. No, I'm not picking on one of them saying that they were overweight. What I'm saying is that they almost hurt me while they were doing the riding. I mean, like my lap and my face were being used as a saddle. I could have gotten seriously hurt, but luckily my bed took the brunt of it, but nobody got hurt. Everybody had a pretty good time from what I remember. And maybe it happened again, maybe it didn't, because I was so forgetful because of all the alcohol. Watch Redacted tonight, Jimmy Dore Show, Kim Iverson, Kyle Kulinski, Abby Martin. Look for yourself. I'm just here to be a fun babbling lecture. Remember, we're all Neo, a.k.a. One. Sorry, ran long. Had to bump comedian Rich Voss. Thanks, Gary. Wow. Did I really do that? Daddy loves you. Stop looking at me, man.